So, guys, Erik Ten Hag is still currently in charge of Manchester United Football Club after the dismantling by Tottenham at Old Trafford yesterday evening on match day 6 of the 24-25 Premier League season. But full focus is on now these next two games for Erik Ten Hag. For me, this is it. This is make or break. We've got FC Porto and Aston Villa in our next two games, and they are both away from home. But first up, it's FC Porto in the Uefa Europa League. Thursday night nightmare, Thursday night football, Thursday night drama continues for Manchester United in the UEFA Europa League in the brand new format and in the brand new league phase of the revamped UEFA Europa League this season, where in FC Porto's last UEFA Europa League game, they faced a shock defeat to Bodo Glimt, which was quite a big shock for FC Porto, where a club of the calibre of FC Porto, a club like that shouldn't be in the Europa League. FC Porto should be dining at the top of European football. And it's the same situation as Manchester United. Manchester United should not find themselves in the UEFA Europa League, but it's our own fault. We have to face the consequences and we have to face the failures of this football club with all this false hope, all this false belief and all this false promise, where after yesterday, I expected Manchester United to make a decision today. And I think Manchester United have absolutely bottled it. I think Manchester United clearly do not know what they're doing. I think Manchester United are too scared to make a decision. And quite clearly, Ineos are just another Glazers. Those people who were brought in to rebuild this club have clearly got no credentials about them, no clue on the footballing side matters, and clearly they do not know what to do with the current manager situation, which says to me those BTECs are too scared to make a decision regarding the manager. They've given him these next two games, and apparently, either a heavy defeat to either one of these sides will force Manchester United to make a managerial change. And I think it's been coming. I think it really, really has been brewing. I think it's been coming for weeks. I think it's been brewing since the end of last season, where Manchester United were too scared to sack him because Manchester United did not know what to do. And again, we have seen the rumours of Thomas Tuchel's not a top candidate. Man United still admire Gareth Southgate. Manchester United still admire Graham Potter. So the situation could get bleak if Erik Ten Hag was to be sacked and Manchester United then decide to go for either Gareth Southgate or Graham Potter. Neither manager that I want at this great football club, which it once was, which is no longer that. So Manchester United are facing a very, very, very scary prospect of bringing in the ex-England manager in Gareth Southgate to replace Erik Ten Hag, which absolutely terrifies the shit out of me. But the focus has to be on Thursday night for the UEFA Europa League, and we have to simply beat FC Porto. We need some kind of result. We need a win. We need to somehow find that form that we showed in the first half against Crystal Palace 2 weekends ago, because since then, it's been completely and utterly bleak. We've not won in our last 3 games. We've only picked up a point in our last 3 games, which is not acceptable. At the highest level, Manchester United are paying the consequences of failings of on the pitch and off the pitch. And Erik Ten Hag is facing an uphill task to keep his job. But he's not the only one to blame. It's those players, it's Ineos, and it's the Glazers, because everything on and off the pitch is simply not good enough. I want to back this manager till the very end. And I thought it was the correct decision to keep Erik Ten Hag in charge for a 3rd season. I thought that was the correct thing to do. Quite clearly, that wasn't the right thing to do, was it? And clearly, it's backfired massively. And I think Manchester United are facing a repeated history, because if you remember when Jose Mourinho was managing us, he got to December and then he was sacked. I don't think Erik Ten Hag is going to survive these last 2 games. I do not think Manchester United will have a manager in charge by the come of the Aston Villa game at the weekend. I don't think Manchester United will have a manager in charge, because I think a heavy defeat away to FC Porto, which is a very, very tough place to go, and a very, very tough atmosphere in Portugal. FC Porto are a formidable force in European football and in European history. They're former champions of Europe as well, all those years ago under Jose Mourinho. And a club like Porto, who, have suffered a shock defeat on match day 1 of the new league format for the Europa League this season against Bodo Glimt, a club like Porto should not be losing those games. A club like Porto should be dominating European football and showing the standards of what Portuguese football is all about. They're currently second in the Portuguese division, in the top division. They are unbeaten in their last league game. They won 4-0 at the weekend. So they're currently second again. And I think, Porto are going to want to put a lot of wrongs right on Thursday against Manchester United. And I think the way Manchester United are at the moment, there is no confidence, there's no positivity, there's no quality on the pitch. And I think everyone in that team is very, very vulnerable to a counter-attack, a breakaway, and another heavy, heavy defeat, because the confidence and the morale is going to be on the floor. How the hell Erik ten Hag is going to get these players up for Thursday, I've got no clue, because I've lost complete faith, I've lost belief in him, and he's lost my backing. Erik ten Hag should have been shown the door against Palace. He should have been shown the door against FC20, and he should have been shown the door today. Manchester United have been too pussy to make a fucking decision, because it's going to cost the club financially to sack him. At the end of the day, money should not be mattering no matter what decision you make. Money should never, ever come into a decision making that has to be made. Man United should not be using money as an excuse not to sack this manager. I don't care if it's going to cost you 30 million. I don't care if it's going to cost you 50 million. I don't care if it's going to cost you 100 million. Whatever you have to do, make a decision. If you want to back this manager, which clearly they are still coming out and saying Erik ten Hag has got our full support, he's got our full backing, and we're going to continue to support him, his coaches, and the players. But they've then come out and said, we need results to turn around. After yesterday, how are we expecting to turn around results in these next 2 games when we're both playing both games away from home? We are facing a nightmare possibility of no European football again for next season. And we are facing already an uphill task to stay alive in the Europa League, because there's only 8 games. We're on match day 2 here. If Man United fail to get a result in Portugal and it's a heavy defeat, Man United have to pull the trigger. Man United are going to have to do it, because the players have given up. The manager is clueless, and nothing's going to change. Nothing's ever going to improve. Nothing is ever going to get better, and Porto will smell blood. They will smell blood on Thursday. They will fucking go for it, because they're going to look at that Man United performance from yesterday and going to think, right, if they're going to play like that against Tottenham, what could we do to them in Europe? And Porto will go for it. They're not going to be scared to face us on Thursday. Porto are not going to sit back and park the bus. Porto are going to go for it, because they know Man United's morale is on the floor for the last 3 games. It's not just been on the floor since yesterday. It's been on the floor for the last 3 fucking games, where you've scored 1 goal and picked up 1 point from 9. It's not acceptable. It really, really isn't. I do not know how Erik ten Hag has survived today. I really do not care how much it's going to take now to sack him. It clearly isn't working. We see no style of play. He's got clear favouritism with certain individuals on that team, and he's refusing to drop certain players who are not playing well. And we all know who they are. We all know the troublemakers. We all know the bad apples in this team. And once a bad apple sets himself in space, that bad apple will rot the rest of the core of the squad. And quite clearly, there are a few of them who are rotten apples in that team that should never, ever, ever be playing for Manchester United again. Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Diego Dalot, Joshua Zirkzee, Christian Eriksen, Casemiro. The list of players goes on of how many bad apples we've got in this team. And some of these players are nowhere near good enough to be a Manchester United player. And unfortunately, a lot of them are going to be playing on Thursday. And a lot of them that featured in that dismantling yesterday are getting another chance. Are going to be, oh, well, we'll put this right. We'll put this right. Not one player, not one member of staff, not even Manchester United have come out and apologised since yesterday. No one has come out and said sorry. That clearly says to you and me that no one wants to take any responsibility. And what they're going to do, they'll turn it on the fans, they'll turn it on the supporters and blame them for the defeats. They'll blame them for moaning, they'll blame them for the criticism, they'll blame them for the mentality, they'll blame the fans for moaning, and they'll blame the fans for the performances. At the end of the day, we are not performing. In Europe, we've been shit. In the Premier League, we've been abysmal. And no one's got any guts or any balls or any cojones to come out and say sorry after yesterday. You've got to put this right. Something has got to give. What are Manchester United waiting for? Are they waiting for these next two games? Are they waiting for us to get battered by Porto on Thursday? Or are they waiting for a dismantling by Aston Villa on the weekend after? Because I'll tell you what, if we badly get defeated on Thursday and we get dismantled on Sunday, United are going to have no choice. And again, we are going to be sat then on a 2-week pathetic international break. Why we're playing international football again in October makes no logical sense. That international break is boring. No one wants to watch it. No one wants to go to the games. No one's got any interest in it. International breaks need to be scrapped. The UEFA Nations League, all these international friendlies, even scrap the Euros, scrap the World Cup. Because I'll tell you what, these tournaments and these international games are pointless because you know the bigger and better teams are going to win. Why we're on that international break for 2 weeks, I've got no clue. Club comes before country. And don't anyone else tell me fucking otherwise. Club comes before country. I've actually played for a club. I've actually played at the top level of football. And I know what it takes to be the best. That is what Manchester United should be aspiring to be. We are not being the best. We are falling further and further behind our rivals. And we're not even near them. We are miles off. And no one has got any balls or any guts to call it for what it is. If Man United players are shit, you call them shit. If they're crap, you call them crap. Don't just sit there and protect them, because that's all these players get is protection FC. They got protected yesterday. They're going to get protected again if they lose on Thursday, and they'll get it the same next Sunday. If we lose these next two games, they will get protected. They'll get their hand held for them like they're back at preschool. Oh, you can't say this about them. You can't say that about them. These are professional footballers. You're just the public. You're not entitled to your view. You're not entitled to your opinion. But at the end of the day, we want to get Man United back to the best. Well, it's about time the club, the players, and the manager, and the coaches, and Ineos, and the Glazers started opening their fucking ears. They've got two of them, one on the left and one on the right. You've got ears. Maybe you've got earwax in your ears. Maybe you've gone deaf, or maybe you just don't want to listen. Start listening to what the fans want. Start listening to what the fans are expecting. We want to be at Europe's top table. We're in the fucking Mickey Mouse League with fucking Porto and Bodo Glimt. I mean, that is embarrassing. Like, no one wants to be there. I'm not expecting a turnaround, if I'm being really honest. I am not expecting to have a turnaround because we've got no midfield again. We've got a useless front three and a back four that contains Diego Dalot. How is anyone meant to get up for any more Man United games this season where it's the same old players making the same old mistakes and it's the same players getting an opportunity to prove themselves? Why is no one except a few United fans and like myself and a few others, why has no one got any other guts to say it how it is? Why are people too pussy to call it for what it is? Why are people too scared, sat behind their keyboard warriors, getting them to do it for them? Why has no one got any guts? It's because people do not like telling the truth. People don't like the truth. That is the problem with society, and this is the club football. Once Man United players get criticised, they take it personally. Do you know what? I'm glad you're taking it personally, because you have been shit. You have been awful. Your performances are unacceptable. So start showing some fight. Start showing that you want to play for this club, that you represent us, and you're not doing it. Based on the last three games, they've not been showing it. And it showed a lot yesterday about where those players are. Their attitude stinks. We are showering in shit players who do not want to be here. We've got a load of players who are not good enough to be here. And apparently, some of those players that played yesterday, we were going to get rid of, and they're still here. Why did Ineos not just kick them out? I don't care if they're under contract. I don't care about their feelings. I don't care about their mental well-beings. I don't care about those players' emotions. I don't give a shit anymore. And I'm going to stop caring, because I haven't cared for the last 3 fucking seasons because we've shown no improvement. Oh, it's all right winning the FA Cup and winning the Mickey Mouse Cup. What about trying to go to the league? What about showing that you're ready for European football? What about showing that you're ready to get in a Premier League title fight? Because we are not going to win anything. Based on our performances and based on yesterday, those players are not going to fight on Thursday. And they're probably sat there in a massive WhatsApp group, probably chatting shit behind the manager's back, saying, do you know what? We don't fancy it Thursday. Let's work our plan, which we did under Moyes, we did under Van Gaal, we did it to Mourinho, we did it to Solskjaer, and we did it to Rangnick. Let's get in our little shitty WhatsApp group. Let's get all the players on, and let's get our plan in motion. Let's get the manager out, and we'll blame him because it's all gone fucking wrong again. And the problem is, those players who we know who they are going to keep doing it until the manager's hand is forced, until Ineos and the Glazers want to make serious change. And quite clearly, when Omar Barada fucked off yesterday, Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox, and Omar Barada, all of them yesterday at half-time fucked off. Where were they in the second half? They weren't there. Where is Sir Jim Ratcliffe? He isn't there, is he? He doesn't attend our United games. And his little minions he's got working under him all fucked off at half-time. So it quite clearly shows all of them are snakes. They don't want change. They're in it for the money. They're working for the biggest football club in England in history. And they're on part of the wage bill. They're a part of the football club, and they're getting a shitload of money for the role that they work at this club. But all of them fucked off at halftime. Clearly, what are you doing at halftime? Where have you gone? Have you gone to make a decision about Ten Hag? Are you going to sack him? Are you going to keep him? Because there's been no clarification. You can get Fabrizio Romano and Laurie Whitwell and Samuel Luckhurst. You can get all those journalists that you want, but you've not been communicating to the fans, have you? You have not been communicating. And then you've got your little violin out saying, well, if we sack Ten Hag, it's going to cost us 18 million to do it. Does it look like I care? Do I care that he's going to cost 18 million? So clearly, again, there is money there at that club. And they've come out and said, well, do you know what? Financial fair play is such a big issue. Loads and loads of clubs across the English Football League are struggling financially. No, they're not. Because if you're telling me you're going to have to pay Ten Hag 18 million if you sack him, you've got money. Clearly, there is money there. I don't care how much it's going to take to sack him. I want some change. I want some consistency on the pitch. I want some results. I want to win Thursday. But it's not going to happen. Oh, put it out there. Put it out there. It's not going to happen, is it? Change will not happen until Man United make big, major decisions across from the top to the bottom of this football club. They will not make change. They will not do it because it's going to cost the club money. They're trying to do it on the cheap. That is the plan. Erik Ten Hag is lucky he's taking charge of this club Thursday. Because I tell you what, if we suffer heavy defeat away in Portugal, he has to go then. They have to sack him on the spot. But I think Ten Hag has got to be told. The favouritism of certain individuals has got to stop. You stop using Delo at left back. You stop using Rashford. You stop using Xerxes. And you stop using Eriksen. You stop using Casemiro. And you stop using Bruno. Because at the end of the day, enough is enough now. And you stop using Onana. Change that team up massively and make a big, major wake-up call to certain players in that team. Because we all know Ten Hag probably won't do it. He will probably want to put those players out and make them face the wrath on Thursday. He will want to make sure those players make sure they know how it feels, the way the fans and the supporters were made to feel at the weekend, because there's been no apology. There's not even been a sorry. And it's unacceptable. Come out and apologise for yesterday and go to Portugal on Thursday and fucking batter the shit out of Porto. But they won't do it because those players have only got one task, is to get Ten Hag gone. And then once Rude put in interim charge, or they bring another high-class manager in, they'll then turn on him. The cycle is just going to keep repeating itself. Your Man United might as well just become a bike, because they are a bike. Man United are becoming a bike. You're just going to repeat the cycle. You're going to go on the same bike ride. You're going to go the same route. You're not going to change things up. Man United are just a bike that's going to keep pedaling and pedaling and pedaling and pedaling until they finally hit the jackpot, which is never going to happen because some of these players that were meant to be get rid of under former managers have survived. They've got more survival rounds than fucking ranked on Fortnite. You survive more at Manchester United than what you do on ranked. And it is unbelievable that these players are still getting away with it. And it stops from now. It stops today. Ten Hag needs to drop players that are refusing to give in to play for the shirt, who are refusing to play for the badge. Ten Hag has got to realise he has been at fault for the team selections. He's been at fault for the late substitutions, what Solskjaer used to do. Ten Hag has got major responsibility problems and he's not willing to take it. He thinks he knows best. He thinks he knows better than everyone else. And the problem is he's trusted these players so much that they've got complacent, that you think, well, we've gained the manager's trust now. What he doesn't know, we're going to start chatting shit about him behind his back now, and he ain't going to realise we're doing it. So again, the player power has won. And I congratulate these players because, again, your player power is going to get you selected on Thursday. He won't drop Rashford. He won't drop Xerxes. He won't drop Delo. He won't drop Onana. He won't drop Eriksen. And he won't drop Casemiro because, again, what has happened since yesterday? Bruno Fernandes is suspended for the next three games for getting himself idiotically sent off, which, again, I still stand by. He did it deliberately, so he didn't have to face the wrath of the manager, his other players, and the supporters and the fans. He did that deliberately to get himself sent off because he knew the tackle he put in, he knew he was in trouble. He did it deliberately. He deliberately got himself sent off. And again, he came out and said, it's not a red card. The way you had your foot, Bruno, the height and the length, the way you put in that tackle on James Maddison, did your idiotic brain not think, oh shit, what the hell have I done? The tackle I put in is dangerous. You could have broken James Maddison's leg because of the height of the tackle that you put in on him. He could have ended James Maddison's career yesterday. And James Maddison is 10 times better player than what Bruno Fernandes will ever be in a Manchester United shirt. And yeah, he's been one of our best midfielders that we've had at this club. But James Maddison's quality shines through Bruno Fernandes every day of the week. And I wanted James Maddison at this football club, and Man United went for Mason Mount. Look how that has worked out for you. Absolutely idiotic decision or beyond belief. If Ineos were in charge of that transfer window, they would have went nowhere near Mason Mount. They would have went nowhere near. And they would have told Ten Hag, we can get you 2 midfielders for the price of 1. And that's what they should have done. But Ten Hag desperately wanted Mason Mount. And again, also unavailable for tomorrow, for Thursday, may I just say. No Mason Mount Thursday. Mason Mount is injured. Again, what a bloody surprise. 60 million down the drain. Mason Mount's injured again. Like, it doesn't surprise me. He had these injury problems at Chelsea, and Man United caved into Chelsea's demands and gave them 60 fucking million for Mason Mount. Look how that's worked out for you. It's not exactly worked, is it? 60 million where you could have probably got Maddison, Gravenberch, and maybe an attacker with that money. And Man United gave in to Chelsea's demands to sell Mason Mount with 1 year left on his contract, and he's out injured again because he went off of a nasty head injury. And Man United's protocols are clear. They've got to take precautions to head injuries. So there's no way Mason Mount will be playing on Thursday. Not a bloody chance he'll be playing. And the bit of other negative news, Kobe Mainoo is injured again. We thought, was he part of the Bruno Fernandes brigade? Did he get himself substituted deliberately so he didn't have to sit the wrath of the fans and the supporters? Did he deliberately want to get himself subbed off because he didn't have to face the hellhole that Old Trafford was yesterday evening? No. And I hold my hands up. I thought that's what Kobe Mainoo did because he didn't want to face the same consequences of his other teammates because they knew they were going to get an absolute brutal mentality check from the fans and the supporters as well as Erik Ten Hag. He shat himself, basically. He shat the bed. He shit his pants and basically thought, I need to get myself off here. I need to get myself out of this situation very, 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 very quickly. Because if I don't do it, I'm in big, big trouble. And again, Kobe Mainoo is massively, massively responsible for his actions. He's massively responsible for the consequences that we are facing with our midfield, because the midfield, again, is an absolute fucking crisis. Because you've got no Bruno, you've got no Mount, and you've got no Mainu. So again, you've probably lost your best midfield three selection for Thursday, because they're all one suspended, two are injured. So we're back to square number one again. So what that now means, we are back to Eriksen, we are back to Casemiro, and we are basically relying on Agate. And again, Agate didn't perform well yesterday. And I think, again, it did not help when we went down to 10 men. And I think when Mainu went off and you saw Mount come on, it didn't work. It clearly don't work then. And it will never work after one game. After what I saw from Mount yesterday, that Mount and Agate combination ain't going to work. So again, we are again in massive, massive trouble to get our midfield with the right balance, because when we went down to 10 men, Agate suffered because he was having to do not just Mainu's role, he was having to do Bruno Fernandes's role as well. And that was the problem. You had to play Mount ahead of Agate, and Agate was on his own. Agate had no one else in front of him except Mason Mount. And Mount's injured now. So what is going to be forced on Thursday? You're going to have to play Agate at CDM, which is literally the best option we have now got because we've got no one else. We've got Eriksen, who will have to play ahead of Agate, further forward, and Casemiro will have to come in as well. That is not the midfield three I wanted to go with on Thursday. Not a chance. That is not the midfield three I wanted to push forward with on Thursday. That is not what I wanted. I really, really did not want that situation yesterday. I did not want that to happen. And Man United have had to pull the trigger because Bruno's out, Mainu's out, and so is Mount. And it's a joke. It's an absolute joke that we've now got your best midfield three options all unavailable for Thursday. So we are back to square number one again, because we've then got no midfielders off the bench. I hope everyone understands this. We've then got no midfield options off the bench, because who's going to come on for Agate? Who's going to come on for Eriksen? Who's going to come on for Casemiro? Erik ten Hag will not be able to change that midfield in the second half if any of them are knackered, tired, fatigued or injured or pick up any knocks. Erik ten Hag is going to have to play them for the whole of the 90 minutes because we've got no other midfield options. If that hamstring injury, which apparently is for Mainu, is weeks, we are screwed. We are basically screwed because, again, no Bruno for Villa, no Mainu for Villa, and maybe possibly Mason Mount. We're screwed. We're absolutely screwed. And again, United should have signed another midfielder and they didn't want to do it. So now look what we're in. Now look at the shit that we are in because we have got no fucking midfield again. And then you've got Robbie Savage coming out. Maybe it was a mistake for Man United to sell Scott McTominay. Maybe they should have never got rid of him in the fucking first place. Maybe they should have kept him. Maybe he was the wrong midfielder Man United sold. Well, unfortunately, Man United didn't want to sell Eriksen because of the Commitment FC band, and they didn't want to do it to Casemiro either. They didn't want to pull the trigger on either of those two player sales. Man United, in my terms, bottled the chance to get rid. And again, now look what's happened. And again, who ended up at Marseille? Rabiot ended up at Marseille on a free. Man United bottled the chance to get Rabiot on a free. And probably now, if you're looking at it from a bigger point of view, we could have done with Rabiot for the midfield because that would have given us an extra midfield option off the bench or even in the starting 11. But now you bottled it, United. We haven't got Rabiot or nothing now because you didn't want to pay up. You didn't want to give in to the wage demands. You didn't want to give the signing on fee to his agent, which was his mum. And now look, you've now got no midfield. And again, I disagree with Robbie Savage. Man United was right to sell Scott McTominay. He was crap. Don't give me he gave his all for the club since he was a kid and he came for the academy and all this bullshit. I don't care. I really do not give a fuck about Scott McTominay's career. He did fuck all for United, and he did fuck all to improve that midfield. So don't give me sentimental, oh, maybe McTominay should have survived. They got rid of the wrong midfielder. Look what he's doing for Napoli. He's ripping up trees. Do you know what? I don't care. I really do not care. Napoli is about his level because he's playing with Billy Gilmore. I mean, the Scottish midfield duo are playing together at Napoli. I mean, that must be so romantic. That must be so lovely. That must be such a romantic moment that the two best players in the Scotland team are playing together at Napoli. It makes you want to throw up. I mean, get over that McTominay's gone. So, like I said, no midfield options for Thursday. So, again, I don't know what Erik ten Hag is meant to do. And again, he'll probably come out and say, well, we're just going to have to get on with it. We've got available who we've got available and stuff like that. But it's good hiding behind excuses. You could have done with an extra midfielder, couldn't you, Erik? You could have done with Rabiot signing, couldn't you? Maybe you should have forced the owner's hand, and especially on a free transfer, United have massively bottled it. So, you know, I think for the next two games, we know who the midfield three will be. Agate, Casemiro and Eriksen. And that terrifies me. It absolutely terrifies me what we're going to do now. I think we're screwed. And I think it's not the only position that we're screwed in. A position that, you know, a lot of United fans have been calling for to be improved in the summer was the left back. And Diego Dalot yesterday was massively exposed. Something that I have been saying for how many number of weeks. Diego Dalot isn't good enough. And again, yesterday, I told you so. And again, I told you so. Diego Dalot fan club has gone very, very quiet today, hasn't it? The Diego Dalot fanboys and fangirls, you know, the fact their little fan club about how great Dalot is on what a consistent and great, accurate player he's been this season. Your accuracy and your love and dedication towards Dalot has gone up in smoke quite quickly because it showed yesterday him at left back is a joke. And again, and I quote, Man United, we will be signing a left back. In brackets, I quote, we will be signing a left back. And we've been calling for it every day of that summer transfer window. Where is the left back? Where is the left back? Where is the left back? Luke Shaw's out for an extra 4 weeks. Malacia is out till Christmas. So if we lose either fullbacks, we are then screwed again. I don't think Man United realise how screwed up that has made them look. You have massively screwed up by not signing a left back. And people didn't want Reguilon back. I mean, what would you rather have had? Reguilon fit and playing, or an injury-prone Luke Shaw and injury-prone Malacia? Which neither of them will probably ever play for this football club again. Their careers are over. But neither of them will ever pull on a Man United shirt. They're both crap. Their injury records are atrocious. Why no one ever put a dedicated look or dedication into the injury problems that Malacia had at Feyenoord? You look like right twats now. And you paid how much for him? Was it like 16 million, 18 million for Malacia? That looked like a really bad purchase now, doesn't it? That looks like a really, really, really shit purchase. And again, Man United should have went nowhere near. And now we're without a left back because we are having to be forced to put Dalot there. But Dalot showed yesterday he was at fault not just for the first goal, he was at fault for the second goal. And as for the third goal, don't get me started on how shit Diego Dalot's defending is. It is abysmal and quite frankly shocking how bad Diego Dalot actually is. And the Diego Dalot fan club have gone very quiet today because they're probably having some time to grieve because they realise that their love and heart towards Dalot is crumbled. They're brokenhearted because Dalot has been exposed finally. And it's a blessing, really, I feel. I feel like Dalot has never been great, and I kept saying it, and people refused to listen. Dalot is not your answer at left back to cover Shaw and Malacia. You need to wake up. You need to get real now. Diego Dalot ain't your player, and he will never be your player. And Man United now are paying the consequences because we are going to have to wait till January now to find a left back. And Man United are going to have to acquire one. They are going to have to go out there and buy one. I don't care how much it's going to cost. I don't care what the transfer fee is going to be. As long as we've got a left back, go and do it. I don't care about the rule breaks. I don't care about the financial fair play bullshit. And I don't care about the sell to buy either because the fans aren't falling for it. We are not stupid. We are not naive. We're not dumb in the brain. We know exactly what you're doing. You're trying to manipulate the fans. You're trying to manipulate the supporters to feel sorry and get our violins out for you because you're facing a financial problem. No one's falling for it. No one's going to fall for it. And that's what worries me. If we're going to have Delo at left back for the rest of these next few games, it panics me because Luke Shaw won't be back after the international break. Malaysia will not be back. It will be Delo for the rest of October, for the rest of November, for the rest of December. It's going to be Diego Delo. Why Man United didn't sign a left back absolutely bewilders me, and they're facing the consequences. But it's not the only problem in that team. It ain't the only problem. The front three's now a problem because you've got a goal scorer from Syria in Joshua Zirkzee, and I can't believe some people on X, on Twitter, whatever you want to call that social media platform, people can't believe Man United fans are already turning on Joshua Zirkzee. I can believe why we're turning on him. I can believe why we're doing it. He isn't going to last long here. A goal scorer that was meant to be brought in to score goals, right? He did so well for Bologna, but he's another Serie A striker, and he's gone 7 games now without a goal. And you're basically telling the fans why you're turning on him. He's a number 9. Yeah, he plays up front down the middle. Your number 9 is your striker. Do you not realise the difference between a false 9 and the number 9 in the team? A false 9 is where you play someone out of position to play another player in the strike position because you've got no striker. Playing a striker like Zirkzee, he's a number 9. And he's gone 7 games without a goal. And you're basically complaining that, oh, United fans are too easily turning on players already. They've not even been here 5 minutes. They've not been given time to settle in, to get their rhythm and their play and the style mixed into the United DNA. But Joshua Zirkzee's not scoring you goals. And you're basically moaning, saying, well, you've got to give him time. He's gone 7 games without a goal and you want to give him time. What is he, a stopwatch? What is he, a clock? Because if he doesn't score on Thursday, he'll probably then start against Aston Villa on Sunday. He has to be dropped. And I don't care if it's going to affect his positivity and his morale, his confidence. He isn't finding the net. He doesn't get into good spaces. The chance he had just against Tottenham, he should have scored. I could have scored that. The chance he had and the way he got himself into that position inside that Tottenham penalty area, I would have scored that. I've played at the top level of football. I know how to put the ball into the back of the net. And for Joshua Zirkzee to not be scoring goals where that was meant to be the problem solver, he's not solving the problem. He's making that problem even more of a problem. That problem is never going to be solved until Man United gets a fucking clinical striker. And that comes back into terms with, you should have signed Harry Kane when you had the opportunity. Oh, Daniel Levy won't sell to us. Well, maybe if you give Harry Kane a stupid offer and to Tottenham, we would have got that deal done. But if we do that, half the budget's going to be blown on one player. Does it really matter? Harry Kane would have been scoring us goals. And Harry Kane is banging them in for Bayern Munich every fucking game. Do you see what I mean? If you had Harry Kane, we'd be fighting for titles. We'd be fighting for the league. And I think that's affected the whole rest of the team because they expected Harry Kane to join the club and he's not here. He's at Bayern Munich in Germany. And God knows how long he's going to be at Bayern. But that is the striker we needed. But then again, you could have got Victor Osimhen in the summer transfer window. Remember that move fell through to Chelsea, and Chelsea fans were really excited that they were getting Osimhen and Sancho. Osimhen's ended up at Galatasaray on loan from Napoli. So Man United could have done a loan deal with Napoli to bring Osimhen in. Osimhen, Zirkzee and Højlund, there's your 3 strikers. You can rotate the 3 of them as much as you want. But Osimhen's already scoring goals for Galatasaray. He was scoring goals for fun for Napoli. If you would have brought him into Man United, he would have been scoring goals for fun. But again, Man United, no, we ain't got the money. We can't afford it financially. It would absolutely screw us over the financial fair play line. At the end of the day, I would rather take a points deduction and go and spend the money to actually improve our team. But Man United don't want to take any risks. We don't want short-term options. We don't want a short-term gap. Why should we do it? Well, maybe look at the performances on the pitch, maybe. And I think the final player we discuss is Marcus Rashford has to be dropped from Man United, not just for Porto, not just for Villa. Marcus Rashford has to be dropped permanently. I don't want to see Marcus Rashford play for this club ever again because he's given up. And clearly, what's happening with Rashford, he's gone 2 games in a row with 3 goals in 2 games against Barnsley and Southampton, who realistically Man United should be beating on paper, which they did. They scored 10 goals in 2 games, but everyone got excited, got really, enthusiastic about, oh, look, we've scored 10 goals in 2 games. And Marcus Rashford looks back to his very best again, doesn't he? All of a sudden, Palace are blank, 20 are blank, and yesterday. So again, he's gone 3 games without a goal. His attitude stinks. He's lazy. He's lethargic. He doesn't look bothered. It looks like he's very, 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 very disheartened. He looks not interested. He doesn't look like he cares. And I don't know what's going on with Marcus, but I tell you what, he needs to go. Not just permanently. He needs to go. He needs to be sold. And Man United should have taken the bullet in the summer and sold him and made a big, big call that, you know what, no big players survive here. We will make this call no matter if you like it or not, Marcus. And again, his career is going to downward spiral anyway, because what he's doing off the pitch by going out clubbing and going out drinking, he's going to end up like George Best. And Man United knew when to get rid. And I think Man United need to do it. If Rashford's not bothering to show the performances and the level and the consistency that Ten Hag's looking for, but clearly Ten Hag is a Marcus Rashford fanboy, he needs to be dropped and dropped permanently and get Garnacho, a Højlund and an Ahmad front 3 working, because that is the front 3 me and my mate have been discussing for so many weeks. We've been discussing that front 3 for weeks, and no one has ever decided to go for it. Why no one's ever done it, I don't know. Why no one's ever suggested, let's go with a Højlund, Ahmad and Garnacho front 3, it bewilders me. It really, really does bewilder me, because that front 3 should be the future that we need to be looking towards. And again, it's the sympathy and the Marcus Rashford fan club. Marcus Rashford gets too much hate. Marcus Rashford shouldn't be getting the crap he gets. He shouldn't be getting the criticism. Well, if he's not performing, he's getting away with it. So do you want that type of player playing for Man United every week when he's not showing any sign of care or any sign of trying to try? Because he's not fucking doing it. If he's not going to do it, he shouldn't be in this team, and he should not be playing for Man United Football Club no longer. He needs to be told, if you're not going to perform, you're not playing, you're not even going to be on the bench, you're going to be out of the team, and we will find a way to get rid of you in January or even next summer. A push needs to be made now to get Marcus Rashford out of this team and face the consequences of shit performances. Because the last 3 games, when you're not turning up and you're not performing and you're not scoring goals, you're not performing to the level that we all know he can do, there's clearly a problem there. And I think it's an attitude problem. I think he's lazy. I think he's right up his own ass. I think he's bigger than the football club, and his ego is beyond the climb. You might as well put the Miley Cyrus song on, because his ego is beyond the fucking mountains that Miley Cyrus is trying to get to. When she starts singing The Climb, Marcus Rashford is trying to climb that mountain, but he will never reach the top because he keeps falling step by step for every game he's underperforming in. That is Marcus Rashford in a heartbeat. He's basically a song. He's The Climb. He's a Miley Cyrus tribute act. Because at the end of the day, if he's not performing, he needs to be dropped. And Ten Hag needs to grab him by the balls or grab him by the cojones and show, do you know what, Marcus? You're done. I'm dropping you, not for the next just 2 games. You're not playing for this club ever again. And we will find a way to get you out this club. No matter the contract you're on, he doesn't deserve a new contract. Don't you dare ever give Marcus Rashford a new contract. He's lazy. He doesn't want to try on the go and gets tough. He gives up for every ball he loses. Every time he just shrugs his shoulders. Every time he loses the ball or he loses possession. And he expects everyone else around him to cuddle into him saying, I'm so sorry I gave the ball away. I'm so sorry I lost possession. Can we get back to where we want to be? That's what Marcus Rashford wants. He wants sympathy. He wants everyone to get the violins out. When he's not performing, he wants people to feel sorry for him and understand, well, the situation I'm in, I can't really do a lot. Well, you can. It's called step up, perform in a Man United shirt and show that you want to play for Manchester United Football Club, because you've not shown it in the last 3 games. You may have shown it against Barnsley and Southampton. No disrespect. They're both pub teams. I could beat them in my sleep. Barnsley and Southampton are not difficult to beat. So again, if Ten Hag has got any balls, he goes back to what works. Obviously, we've got no Bruno, we've got no Mainu, we've got an Agate, Eriksen, Casemiro midfield 3 for Thursday. The front 3, I'm kind of hoping it will be Højlund, Ahmad and Garnacho. The back 4, again, will be Mazraoui, De Ligt and Martinez, because Maguire is also injured. And Onana, unfortunately, will still be in goal, even though he's conceding goals from every fucking angle of the goal. And at left back, unfortunately, it will still be Delo, and it terrifies me. I can't see a Man United win, but it wouldn't surprise me now if they go and put in 2 world-class performances. It wouldn't surprise me because Man United are typical of doing that. They all of a sudden turn up and put the heat on and put the pressure on, and they turn up and perform well. So do you know what? Expect a Man United win, but I think based on what we saw yesterday, then I'm expecting I'm expecting Porto to destroy us on Thursday. But let's see what happens, eh? So I hope you enjoyed this live Europa League look ahead for FC Porto against Manchester United on Thursday night. Please hit the like button and share button. Please hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, which is United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button, and to always remember the notification bell. We will put that button at all times so you receive dedicated content right throughout the rest of this year in 2024 for brand new videos, shorts, live streams. I want to get all of you more involved. And yeah, hopefully it's a positive result on Thursday night. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but Man United, I need to find something from somewhere. But I think we all know the way this is going. I think if we lose on Thursday, Ten Hag will go. If we lose Thursday and Sunday, we are going to have a new manager breaking announcement that Ten Hag's gone during a 2-week international break. But you never know with United. And it wouldn't surprise if they turn up against Porto and Villa and put the wrongs behind them. But let's see what happens. So enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. Stay safe, be nice and be kind to each other. You're all legends, you're all legendary, and I will see you all on the next one.